Welcome to this fourth session where we are considering a mind stretch for the renewal of patriarchal patterning. How patriarchal is your mindset? Is your view of gender largely patriarchal? Would you like to stretch your current mindset and be updated? If so, keep listening to this three-step mind stretch process. It will help you discover new ways of thinking about gender and about societal relationships. This session will make more sense if you've already watched the previous three sessions, which are based on the patriarchal culture of violence in the South African context. These sessions are based on three understandings. Firstly, that God is love, according to 1 John 4:8, that says, "Whoever does not love does not know God, for God is love." And secondly, Jesus said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And on these commandments depend all the law and the prophets." And thirdly, the basis is that all humankind is created in God's image. When God said, "Let us make humankind in our image and according to our likeness," in Genesis, the book of beginnings, chapter 1, verse 26. And so each one of us is made in God's image from a place of love and blessing and for loving and respectful relationship. The Trinitarian God models this loving relationship for us. God as Father or Mother, which are interchangeable names for God, is equal in power with Jesus the Son and universal Christ, and also equal with the all-wise Holy Spirit as parent, as incarnate person, and as spiritual paraclete. There's no hierarchy in their positioning or in their interactive functioning. Imagine a circular pattern with three persons in relational harmony, full of giving and sharing without any hierarchy of power. In contrast to this holy example of shared, respectful, and relational power, patriarchy adopts definite hierarchies in terms of power. Patriarchal patterning is dualistic and comparative. It's either or type of thinking, because patriarchy is intent on power and control, usually of the male over the female within relationship. So patriarchal ways of understanding gender insist on either male or female, only two recognized genders, and only cisgender heterosexual orientation. Rethinking patriarchal scriptures thus encourage humans to be subject to one another out of reverence for Christ, with each of us loving his or her partner as him or herself and being respectful of each other. Godly inspired relationship is much more inclusive because God created and continues to create genderfulsome humanity. Every human being reflects part of God's multifaceted image. God is like a multifaceted diamond, and you and I each reveal one face of God and some part of God in some way. And so in order to renew our patriarchal patterning, we move now into a three-step mind stretch process. The first step is awareness. The second step is acknowledgement of what is. And the third step is adjustment to what is preferable for us and for others. Awareness involves taking an open-minded look at gender symbolism, its roots, its meanings, and the implications thereof. Remember that renewing the mind and attitude is an activity recommended throughout the scriptures because it is the path to growth and the path to transformation. And so I wonder, did you know that male and female sex symbols are ancient symbols based on the Greek letters, according to William Stern? The male symbol is based on Mars or Thuros, and the female symbol is based on Venus or Phosphorus. The male symbol is sometimes thought to represent the shield and spear of Mars, suggesting violence as symbolic of masculinity. And the female symbol is sometimes thought to represent the hand mirror of Venus. You can imagine holding underneath that round mirror, suggesting vanity as symbolic of femininity. Non-binary gender symbolism of this variation for gay people is this variation of gay people and of lesbian people. It's a combined picture. And this variation is a basic symbol for transgender LGBTQIA people. And for a more detailed range of non-binary gender symbolism, Google Brenik, B-R-E-N-I-K, for examples of genderqueer, bisexual, female, gay, hetero, intersex, lesbian, male, non-binary, transgender, homosexual, transsexual, asexual symbols, and gender fluid symbols. This particular symbol is a feminist activist icon. It is a symbol that indicates strength and perseverance, with a clenched fist of determination. This symbol speaks about women fighting back against femicide, injustice, and violence against women. However, violence is not the answer to turning the tide against injustice. This symbolism, originating from astronomy and ancient gods, before being used within science and now employed to promote gender equity and empowerment, are recognizable insignia for us. However, I'm suggesting a renewal of the mind in the way gender symbolism is utilized in order to incorporate an incarnational, theological, and cosmic view more suitable for our context. So maybe it is time for all genders not adequately represented in this image, but maybe it is time for all genders to turn towards Earth and each other with equality and shared energy to save our mutual home. Bearing this symbolism information in mind, it's now time to move into part 2 of this MindStretch exercise, which is acknowledgement. This is a largely meditative exercise to renew our minds regarding patriarchal programming, that holds us in a violent, gender-biased power struggle, while Earth struggles to survive human-induced destruction, and women struggle with issues of gender-based violence, domestic violence, and femicide. There's no need to feel embarrassed or ashamed of our learnt patriarchal mindsets. Rather, let us be curious and simply acknowledge where our thoughts, feelings, and resultant behaviors are patriarchally patterned. So ask yourself, what is my opinion of myself? What is my opinion of my partner, my neighbor, my community? And what is my opinion regarding the environment? Do I love and respect myself, others, and the environment equally? Could I improve on this with the help of God's Spirit? God's kingdom view for humanity values mutuality, care of the self, and care for neighbours. And whilst we have human rights laws in place to prevent, prescribe, and punish, the laws of the universe seem far more focused on interconnection, restoration, and mutual cooperation. And so now we move to the third step, the adjustment of what is. This is an imaginative and creative step, so please pause this for a moment now and gather a few supplies like blank paper and colored pencils or paint. Find a few old magazines which you can cut up and make into a personal collage if you prefer not to draw. This adjustment MindStretch exercise will help us consider genderfulsomeness. Ask God to give you insight on what has influenced your thinking in the past. Ask God to provide you with the imagination needed in order to bring renewal to your thoughts and attitude of mind. Ask God to help you to expand, to adjust, and stretch your views regarding gender, gender-biased violent practices, regarding relationships, and regarding the care of the environment. Shifting and stretching by using creative symbolism brings new meaning into our lives. Mind stretching helps us to think and feel and behave differently, to love and respect ourselves and others and the environment in non-violent and improved ways of being. Mind stretching brings transformation, a biblical term that ushers in the kingdom that God envisions for all of us. And so find your quiet place now. Gather your paper and your pencils or a few old magazines. Here are some examples of collages. I hope they give you inspiration to make your own. Last one. Here's my example of another way of thinking about these symbols. Here I view the male symbol likened to patriarchal, heterosexual men. I think colonization, having harnessed earth Earth's potential for personal progress, power and control. And holding to this thought pattern, the female symbol depicts Earth, with woman held in submission and subdued. To quote Hallett, symbolism and power are the two major variables that pervade all social life. So using the imagination to envision a preferred future depicted in your personal symbols, your drawings, collages is a start. If we want to fulfill a role as helpful contributors to society, we must develop our own capacity of imagination in order to become part of the solution to the multiple challenges we face, particularly in the South African culture of patriarchal violence. No one can effectively exist socially outside of some system of symbolism regarding where we fit in as human beings made in God's image. And so I encourage you to do these creative exercises. They will assist you in being able to discern where you fit in and how you would prefer to tell your story without the influence of patriarchal patterning that is imprinted on your mind since childhood due to the culture and society norms in which we were all raised, particularly if we were raised in South Africa. The work titled Spirituality, Symbolism and Storytelling in 21st Century Organizations, Understanding and Addressing the Crisis of Imagination, describes spirituality as a set of beliefs concerning a person's subjective perception of relationships, which probably includes their view of the sacred, their self-perception, values, morals, and behavior, and their view of socio-cultural community on a micro and a macro scale. As human beings, we are made in the likeness and image of God. We are the Imago Dei. So let us tap into the original blessing of seeing ourselves as versions of the Imago Dei. What could your symbolism be within a genderfulsome, non-violent culture? If you found this interesting or helpful, please press like and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, so please post your comments and share your drawings and thoughts with me here in the comments, or email me on margie.visser1@gmail.com. God bless you and keep you. Goodbye for now.